Well, happy Thursday, Therapy Flow Facebook community, and anyone else who's joining in.
Welcome in, guys.
Hey, we're excited to chat with you today about marketing improvements, specifically the two cues of how to improve any portion of your marketing anywhere. I know this is a pretty big process and topic that, it's the thing that we probably talk most often about. How do I improve my marketing? How do I get better results from my marketing? How do I just get more inquiries in general, which involves marketing oftentimes? And so we want to break down a really simple framework, and we'll share some examples for those that are just starting out with marketing, and for even those that are maybe spending either a lot of time or a lot of money and have a much more developed playbook. We'll talk about that towards the end. So, give it a like, give it a comment, push this out for those that need to listen, and let's dive into the two cues of marketing here.
Yeah, I think one of the most common misconceptions is that marketing is like a one and done thing. You just launch it and you did it right or you did it wrong. And from my 10-year career and probably every single marketer I know that's worth their salt, um, they all consistently agree that you kind of have to just try little things, find something that works a little bit and kind of move towards that and move towards that direction until you finally get it to fit just right. And even when you just start to get it fitting just right, you still have to make adjustments, right? There's reasons why really big companies have marketing teams and it's not just a marketing project, right?
Yeah.
So this idea that you're making improvements over time and you're consistently working, sort of chipping away at this stone as it's sort of rolling down a hill, is kind of one of the core concepts that I want to start with here and just kind of maybe set the stage with here. Is this is a process, it's an ongoing process. And so
Yeah.
Josh, on your newsletter this morning, you talked about two key areas, two core concepts, maybe when it comes to maybe making improvements to your marketing, right?
Yeah. There are kind of two big buckets that we can approach marketing improvements through the lens of quantity and quality. And we'll kind of break down both a little bit. Quality is just as it sounds, is how good of quality is the marketing that you are pushing out. This could be the quality of the video, the quality of your audio, the quality of the content that you actually say inside of the video, right? What is written on your website. There's a million different ways to measure the quality of what you are putting out there, like societal standards of quality, right? Is like what's modern, what's on brand, what's the recent trend. So there's a lot of different ways to come at this. Some qualities kind of inherent that doesn't change, right? It's a home that has a roof on it is a better quality home than one that doesn't have a roof on it. A web with a call to action on it, a way to get in contact with you, is better than a website that doesn't have a call to action on it. So there are some like inherent quality standards that we need to have to like get the thing to function. And then there's aesthetic quality and measure of quality, right? Someone who's a lot more presentable on video or was more charismatic on video might have better engagement on social media and or better written content, whatever it is. Lots of layers of quality, and we'll talk about two sections here. One is sort of this concept of a lot of times we overemphasize or almost in our own heads accidentally exaggerate the amount of quality we think we're bringing to the table when we create our own stuff.
Yeah, I this kind of ties into another weird angle of quality, but to kind of continue on your point, uh, when we're marketing, we the most important thing that we do is speak to a psychological need of a potential client or someone who's visiting our material or seeing or interacting with our material, right? There's some kind of psychological need, and I think oftentimes we project our own psychological needs onto or through our marketing. And so what ends up happening is there's a disconnect. And so it creates low quality, right? And it
Yeah.
creates an environment where uh, you you are projecting what you think works really well, but it may just not work really well for the audience, the way that the audience wants to consume it, or the way that your prospective clients want to consume it. And so it's kind of an interesting concept. I enjoyed how you put it this morning, because I think it's 100% true. Where some people just, you'll go out and you believe with all your heart that you were doing something great, but then it turns out that it's not really that great of a deal. And I think the easiest way to look at that would be like you go to a store and maybe you're not used to buying cars, and one car is a $30,000 car and one car is an $80,000 car, and that's a big difference. But maybe they don't look that different, and so to you, you're just like, hey, maybe the $30,000 one is way better of a deal, way more of a value,
Right.
right? Maybe it's just in your price range or whatever. There's a lot of factors to it, and so but maybe you're trying to sell the $80,000 car, and so there's different things that you kind of have to package in there to maybe make it feel and act more valuable.
Yeah, I think to put this into a nuts and bolts category, if you are a insurance-based practice, sometimes the quality of your marketing or the experience of your marketing is maybe just a better way to put it, right? A person who is driving their old farm truck around the farm just to get stuff done wants and needs a different experience than the person who commutes in the city from work to and from every day. The person who is using insurance to pay for their therapy needs and wants probably a different experience from your marketing, and therefore probably can either handle or experience a different quality, quality right of your marketing compared to the cash pay therapist who is trying to charge a much more premium fee or premium process. And this is where then the quality of your marketing can really matter. Is how do you present yourself? How do you speak to your ideal client? How do you enroll them into your services? And a lot of things that play out from there. And the thing that we oftentimes miss, that I know Attilio talks about a lot, is that quality is typically most quickly improved by doing, by just doing and doing more of the thing, by getting out there and doing it once and then looking at what came back and doing it more of it. So maybe you can talk about that a little bit more, Attilio.
Yeah, there's this book called Ready, Fire, Aim that I pull this concept from, and I pull it frequently from, but really it's this idea that you get ready, you prepare as best as you can, and then you just do the thing. And then once you've done the thing, you now have a framework for which to build your next ready, right? So ready, fire, aim, ready, fire, aim, ready, fire, aim. And so you continue this process until you start getting closer and closer to the actual product, the actual thing, the actual psychological need, the actual marketable product that actually ends up working. And so you would have never known it if you didn't go through more cycles. And
Yeah.
so if you're attempting to, the opposite of this would be ready, aim, fire. Really, you're aiming in the dark because you have no framework, you have no action to support any of your next aims or readies, right? And so take action, try the thing, battle test what you're putting out. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll call it battle testing. Go ahead.
Like social media is a really good example
Oh,
where
super
often we see the
best.
person just needs to show up. Honestly, you go back and you look at our Facebook lives, right? You look at our first maybe like 10 or even 20 of these sessions that we did, and like I'm almost embarrassed by them. But like the first couple is like, that went great. And then like looking back and improving and decompressing through this process, like when you're doing something new, if you're paying attention to it, quality can and should appear over time. And that's really important. To sometimes you just got to get on the track, start the race, and see where you end up, because it's not going to be perfect when you first get it started. I look at the first websites that I ever built that I was really proud of, right? I was probably exaggerating in my head how good of quality they were, and I look back at them now and I'm like, gosh, good thing no one sees those anymore. So keep this in mind, especially put it, is volume. So on this other sort of trajectory of improving your marketing, we also need to look at not just what is the quality that we're putting out there, but what is the quantity, the volume. Are we doing enough actions? Are we spending enough on ads? Are we writing enough content? Are we posting often enough on social media? Because if you post once a month on social media, for as long, that's not going to get the same result as if you post once a day on social media, right? A different way to put it is for networking. If you go out and you send 100 messages today, but then you don't send another 100 messages until a year from now, that volume is very different. So there's two categories of volume. There's consistency across a long period of time. How long do I need to do something to get a result for? And how much of that thing do I need to be doing consistently? Right. So for like SEO, for example, we know that blogging 1 to 2 times a week in terms of content is a really important piece of volume. But just blogging 1 to 2 times a week for a month doesn't do it. For 3 months doesn't do it. It's usually 8 to 18 months that truly gets you the result that you're looking for from SEO with that type of content. So you need both the quantity that you do in the action and the consistency of volume across a long period of time.
Yeah, I'll add in just one extra element on this, and this is uh, my marketing isn't working. And I think this is like probably one of the most common problems that we get, like just in
Yeah.
our program. Like, hey, the marketing isn't working. And as a coach, I have to ask you, well, when's the last time you edited it? Right? When's the last time you tried to change it? And maybe it's a month or 2 months ago. And it's like, well, that might be one of the first places to just put in more energy, more effort into making the improvement. If marketing is really important for you, and this goes for anything, right? This is your recruiting, this is your administrative activities, this is, hey, I credentialed one therapist. It's like, great, but I bet the next time you credential them, it's going to go way better, way faster, right? And so look at your marketing, because that's what we're talking about
Yeah.
on this call, but look at your marketing just like that. If you only make one edit once a month, you're only moving at one edit once a month pace. And so more volume. I think oftentimes we drastically underestimate the amount of work that actually goes into getting something to work. If it
Yeah.
was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would just have it. And they don't. Everybody doesn't just have it.
I think when you are processing where any part of your business is at, but specifically your marketing right now, you just get to ask yourself the question when you approach a new piece that isn't going as well as you want, or maybe it's going well, but how do I make this better? Simply ask yourself, can I do more actions? Have I waited long enough for the actions that I'm currently doing to like show up? Do I just need to stick with it? Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it's convincing, and sometimes I have to do myself not to change the process. We just have to do the same thing for longer. So the quality's fine. The quantity of what we're doing is fine. We just have to be patient for how often we're doing it. Like that's SEO, right? Like if you kind of nail the quality of the content you're putting out there and you're doing like a blog 1 to 2 times a week, well, you just have to wait 6 to 8 months or more to kind of get your first breadcrumbs and see how it's going and take it from there. And there's some ways to measure it and there's some other things there. And that's a part of this is there are ways to measure quality and there's ways to measure quantity, and there's a good premise to probably implement those so you're not just blindly trying to like improve stuff. But at the end of the day, you can kind of approach any piece of your business with this framework and just say, hey, do I want to work on the quality or do I want to work on the quantity?
I think my last suggestion would be don't spend too much time on any one part. So if the decision here is I need to improve your quality quickly. Okay, we shouldn't be sitting on improving quality stage forever. Improve your quality, do something, make that standard, right? Make that standard, make that as part of your process. We've improved the quality, we're going to do it this way from now on. And then go look at quantity. Hey, now I need to improve the quantity. How often am I showing up? How often am I producing or
Yeah.
executing this material? And then switch back, right? Hey, we've now updated our protocol so that we've upped our quantity. Now it's time to go look back at our quantity. Or I'm sorry, quality. Quality.
Yeah.
Just
The
kind of
two
go tit
Q's.
for tat. Yeah.
No, they all go together.
Yeah, just go one after the other, but just update the system, update the process, right? And you shouldn't be incrementally increasing your time costs or energy costs or otherwise oftentimes. Right? We want to look for probably I'll call it like the low-hanging fruit or the highest points of you put a little bit of work in, you just tweak it a little bit. Hey, we're going to start adding buttons here on the page. Great. You just start adding buttons there on the page instead of there on the page, right? And so make some of those changes like that. Make the low cost changes first, I would say, because the
Yeah.
high cost changes, if they don't work, you're out, right? You're out a lot. So
Just to share an example with your website, if you are not getting a quantity of visitors to your website right now, aka you're not getting any traffic, very many views at all, it doesn't matter the quality of your website uh, for the most part because no one's visiting it anyways. So sometimes this is also a good framework to say, hey, which one should I work on first? And we have this bias of working on quality first because it
has to be
feels
ready.
better. It's aesthetic. It sounds better. It's what is like rooted in the in like in a good way, like the pride of like I want to present myself well with how I say, how I talk, what my brand looks like, whatever it is. But if you don't have any volume, well, how much time are you going to spend on a website? And then sometimes it doesn't work anyways. And same with a Facebook ads or your blogs or some of those things, waiting for it to look perfect, be perfect, or know that it's going to show up the way that you want in terms of quality, uh, actually takes away your momentum to do the action to get the quantity or do the quantity. That's where you need to start because then the cool thing is you'll improve over time faster, right? If you just keep doing the main big action than waiting until it's perfect or waiting until the quality's there. Almost every like YouTuber's like, yeah, I got started on my like iPhone or my terrible web camera before they're like, yeah, I spent all this money and upgraded my web setup and I got a microphone and some of those things, right? And I'm thinking about like even me and Attilio, we like built a business and we collected and we worked with hundreds of counselors before we had our first website.
Yeah.
And there's a number of other examples like that of sometimes we have to go all in on other actions of quantity before certain parts of quality even make a difference.
Yeah. Could even show up.
Yeah. Go with speed, go improve something in your marketing today, and drop some questions below if you need any help.